It's that time for Soulbirth here on Edge Radio Australia. Lovely to have Faye beside me, looking just so sedate. Look at you, no colour, no vibe. Okay,
we're in the hippie theme today, Aaron.
The original hippie chick. Look at you go. Look at that.
Look at you with your rubber duckies.
I've dressed for the weather, though. That's the difference,
don't
right?
you? To get here today, we almost had to swim.
It was unbelievable. Like it was I think the vision here when I was driving was the worst I've seen in 30 years. I reckon. It was full on, really, really bad.
My windscreen wipers going at their maximum.
Yeah, we made it though. We're here, okay, and we are very lucky to be here.
We are.
Because guess what? It was dangerous. We could have died.
Oh,
boom, boom.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, the worst segue in the world there.
It's not our time yet.
It's not our time, okay, because guess what we're going to talk about today?
What are we going to talk about?
Oh, come on, that's your line. Come on. Hey.
You're up with all of this?
Well, yeah, it's all about death again, right? Like, okay, and this is a series, obviously, we're doing at the moment here, and about the fact that, death is, not something to be feared. Joking about the fact, it was a bit dangerous on the way. Well, it's actually just another step in the journey. So very exciting stuff, actually. Yeah,
because it's inevitable. It's all part of our life.
Death and taxes,
we are born and we live and we die.
That's right. There's no avoiding them.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So let's celebrate it. Let's, as I say, let's enjoy the life we've got here. Sort of, do a little prep work for when we move on to the next step. So, So what are we going to cover today?
Well, we had an amazing conversation last week with Andrea.
Certainly did. Yeah, we did.
Andrea Anthony, who was our end-of-life doula, who came and shared some amazing information with us. And I learned a lot. I don't know about you, but I
did
learned
actually.
a lot.
She was really cool. And it's always great to hear a different perspective, right?
Yeah.
That was a cool thing. So,
I
enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, it was. And because I have a lot to do with death and dying as well as the other end, birth.
Aren't you a lot of fun?
Yeah. Well, matter of perspective, isn't it?
It is, right? It is. And I think that's the big thing. Let's change the perspective here, right?
Exactly. Make it a light, airy conversation to have, before we pass over, because otherwise it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
But, I went along to an event on Sunday that Andrea actually told us about when
I remember she was talking about the high tea.
Yeah, the
Why
high
was
tea.
I not involved, okay? Do I not look like I enjoy a good scone?
I can't believe you didn't turn up.
I was busy on Sunday. There you go. But whereabouts was it actually?
It was at Woodvale Shopping Centre.
Oh, okay, yeah,
at
North
a
River,
cafe
yeah.
there. Yeah, it was a lovely, lovely event. It was beautiful. They put on a nice spread and they had 5 different speakers talking about death in different ways, and they all complement one another doing different things, and Andrea was one of them.
Okay.
And so, I took my parents along as well, and we had some great conversations with so many people there.
I could make light of this, right? But you took your parents to something about death. Okay, geez, are we thinking inheritance or what's going on there?
Rubbish.
I'm teasing you. Hello. No, I'm
watching the show, by the way.
Oh,
so
hello to you guys. Yeah, it's good to see you. Good that you're still around. She didn't get you. No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm teasing.
No, we talk about this topic regularly.
Well, that's kind of why I jest, because I think this is like, okay, it's an important conversation to have. We said that last week, and I think it really is important that we take the stigma away. Yeah, and me joking about it, quite frankly, is part of that stigma. Like people talk about death like it's this, it's very final. Well, it's probably just stepping onto the escalator to the next journey, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And probably my whole family talks about it, whenever it comes up, because it's not a taboo in our family.
Oh, that's rare in itself.
Exactly. And possibly because we've had a lot to do with it, as I've said, and we work a lot on the spiritual realm as well.
Sure.
So I'll go into that in a bit more, but that's what I want to cover today.
Okay.
Is more of the, other side of death.
The other side.
The more spiritual, like what actually happens to us when we die.
I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. And we've got lots of theories here. So let's hear some of yours.
Well, today I just want to share, this is my experience. Okay. So, everybody has a different belief around what happens at death, and it depends on your upbringing, your religion maybe, or your cultural beliefs. And so, I'm not here to say your belief is wrong and I'm right, because this is just my experience that I've had, because I've had a lot to do with sitting at people at death, and because
it's
I've always
big moment.
It is just as big as coming in, it's going out, and it's it's one of those sacred doorways, if you like, or portal that we move through. Okay. And to be at a death, like I've said before, is actually a real honour to sit with people as they cross over.
I thoroughly agree. Having done it myself, couple of occasions, not so much of an honour. Well, I suppose it's always an honour.
Yeah.
But it depends on the level.
Traumatic for us, the physical, us in our humanness.
Yep. Yeah.
They find it traumatic to sit with somebody who's dying because it's foreign, or we fear it, or whatever our perspective is on death. So if we think that death is final, and then we fear it because it's like, oh no, when my life is over, that's it, kaput, never again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think would it be fair to say most of us don't believe that when the physical life's over, that's kaput, that's it? Would it be fair to say? I mean, I think most people now have a spiritual element. Is that?
Don't know. I'm not sure what the percentage is actually, but I know that if you've had, it depends on your upbringing again. Because I know certain religions don't believe in reincarnation
that's true.
The afterlife or anything, and so it depends if you're, if you've been raised in that era. And my dad was raised in the Catholic Church, so that was the belief. And so, but now a very different perspective because once again of experiences that we've had since. And so I've always had a very open mind, and I've always been able to see things in other dimensions and being able to see spirit. Ooh. And so, I've never sort of not thought that.
So on that, okay, let's delve down. Okay, let's talk about religion. Why not, right? Okay. So your dad was raised Catholic. So Catholic they're pretty damn rigid about what they believe, okay? And it's heaven and hell and all that sort of thing. So you being part of this family and raised, and it sounds like, I mean, your family situation sounds like it was a very, I don't know, a very open and a very interactive family. Okay, and certainly that's sort of the impression I get. So, how was your dad with the fact that you're thinking and seeing things and expressing things that don't really 100% align with Catholics?
Well, it's really interesting. So hopefully it's okay to share this here.
Too late now.
Well, because my mum was raised Anglican.
Gotcha.
Back in the day.
Oh, they had a fence. They had a fence. Yeah.
Anyway, and so they fell in love and wanted to get married, and so part of the Catholic thing was that they say that the woman has to then become Catholic and then raise the children as Catholic, and so they didn't want to do that. So Dad
renegades
was kicked out of the Catholic Church.
Oh, really?
Wow. Rebel. See, this is where I get my rebel streak from.
Yeah, it's all making sense now. Gotcha.
And my mum was never one to follow orders.
Yeah, okay.
We're here to make a difference in this realm. And proud of it.
Yeah. And you should be, because I mean, look, rules are there to be made to be broken, right? Okay, and I tend to think that. Well, I was raised Catholic, and I very, very similar situation as far as well, actually the exact same situation, except my mum was not baptised; she was raised as Anglican, because that was kind of you picked one or the other back then in Australia, didn't you? Right? But and Dad had some hang-ups about that, like I've told you before about that. They believed that there was a section of heaven that was called, bricked off. Yeah, it was it's very much Catholics only. So for you to come in and feel the way you felt, it must have been a great environment to be allowed to do that without any sort of rigid. Yeah,
well, it was interesting because when I was a young kid, we went to church. We went to the Anglican church and everything. And so, but I used to, this is going to sound strange to some people, but I used to sit on the swing outside when I was only young, 8, 9, 10, whatever. And I used to have conversations with God all the time.
Right.
And I would be told all these things, and then I'd go to church and I would hear the sermon, and I'd interpret it a certain way based on my beliefs because of the conversations I'm having with God.
Sure.
But then the interpretation there wasn't quite the same. And I'd be thinking, oh, that's odd. That's not how I interpret it, even as a young kid. And if I'd bring it up in Sunday school and say, but, this happened or that happened, I was always told that doesn't happen, that can't happen,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I certainly know how they feel about reincarnation, the Catholic Church. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about Catholics in this case. But same Anglican, I mean, obviously very, very similar, just a bit of a split there over a couple of little issues when it comes to wives, right?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. But there's so much about that is negated all of my experiences that I had, because I used to see spirits all the time.
Right.
But I was actually scared of it because of my religious upbringing. I was scared of spirits and I didn't understand them, but I used to see them all the time. And
well, I mean, wow, you're seeing this other side of things, and what a conflicted sort of life you must have led, going to Sunday school and the whole box.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So it wasn't until later in life when I actually got to understand it. It was only when I had my children and I met someone who does what I do now with tuning into the unborn baby, and then I met the soul of my child that I was pregnant with, and then met my spirit guides, and they explained to me everything about what I'd seen and what I'd experienced through my early years.
Right. So they explained it. Could have come in a brochure.
Could have
come earlier. Could have warned us for this.
I know. But
it's so interesting. Like, from my point of view, I take, I tip the hat rather to your parents on this one, because, as I say, coming out of organised religion and doing that, and you feeling the way you feel, and you're far more spiritual than anything else. That's the way I would describe you. Like, in my life, in my upbringing, religion was actually a punishment, right? It really was a punishment. Like if I did the wrong thing, Dad sent me to church, right?
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So my parents didn't go to church regularly, probably twice a year or like that. So I'm just looking at and I'm not angry or disappointed with them for that. They obviously had their negative attitudes about religion as well. Faith and spirituality. Certainly they were very positive about it. Certainly Mum was. Yeah. But
and I don't associate those two things with church either.
No, that's
That's an internal thing. I have so much faith, and my spirituality runs deep. Like I have more faith probably than a lot of people I know that go to church all the time.
You've got a lot of faith. You could give George Michael a run for his money. You really could. Sorry about that. All right. Let's get back to death. The happy subject.
Yeah, so what actually happens at death? So
I don't know. Yeah. This is what I'm asking you. I mean, I would love to think, I don't know. I mean, I'm caught between two sort of thoughts here. Do I want to be reincarnated, right? Or do I want to go off to paradise? I mean, geez, it's a tough gig.
What's paradise to you?
Exactly. Right? What is paradise to me? I can't say it during this time slot. No, I'm only teasing. Look, paradise would be being surrounded by the people I loved, actually. Yeah, that's the main thing. Just
whether it's here or on the other side.
Yeah, doesn't matter where it is, that's paradise.
Yeah. So what I've witnessed when I've sat with people dying or who have crossed over, because I've had a lot of conversations with souls that have actually crossed over.
Sure.
And what they've told me is that, what we hear about how, seeing the light, moving towards the light, and then having loved ones that have passed over come to greet you and all of that. So that seems to be a similar story that runs through everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are people who have been to the edge and literally, sort of turned back.
Yeah.
And there's a consistency to their story, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah.
My question has always been, to spirit, is so what actually happens? Because when people have a near-death experience or actually come back, because they didn't actually die, is that a prelude to death?
Right. Are they in the green room? Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, awaiting the next step. Because when I've sat with people as they've passed over, their soul has left the body.
Yep.
I've actually seen their soul lift up out of the body and go to a light. So I have seen that.
Right.
And I have seen others reaching hands down or visualising others, entities coming to greet them. And it's it's just love. It's unconditional love. That's what I feel more than anything is at the moment of death.
Yeah.
All I feel is peace and love. There's nothing else. Yeah, and it is. So just to be in that to me is what heaven is.
Okay.
Is just to be surrounded in this like pool of love.
So how long is that going to last, that heaven bit?
Well, I believe that it's when that is the state of being when you cross over.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have seen souls actually, they have a life review.
Right.
So I've sat with souls as they've done this life review, and it's quite fascinating.
Okay, what happens in this life review?
So it's like they have a fast forward or rewind, if you like, across their whole physical life. So they actually get to see things played out again, but it's in fast forward. So, it's just like a tape. Remember the old tapes and you put them fast forward?
Yeah,
it's like that, and it just stops at different points in life where they might need resolution or if there's something, a lesson, one of the major lessons they needed to learn or a challenge that they had to overcome, and they're given more, but it's only brief. It's really brief because like in spirit, there's no time, time doesn't exist.
Okay.
So, a snap of time is like it kind of opens up. Yeah. So they're showing these moments and, they just go yes or no, like are they happy with that or would they like to examine that more or whatever?
Yep.
And it goes on through their whole life, and then they're given this opportunity, if they need to come back into body and make any
right. So they're the people who are going to get up there and they'll go, yeah, not for me. Going to turn around, I'm coming back. Yep.
Well, sometimes, or it might be ones who are on their deathbed, and they're kind of like off with the fairies. They're gone when you go to visit them.
Yep.
You think, oh, this is their last breath is going to happen. They call the family in. Everybody comes and sits by their side. And then they suddenly rally back to life and they sit up and they're really clear. And it's like they wanted to say something to somebody that's there. It's like they've given this opportunity.
I've experienced this.
Have you?
Yeah. And it's kind of freaky, right? Well, I knew nothing about it. And this is with my former partner. It was her nana. And, we rallied the troops, got there. And, she was, I won't go through all the details. It's not fair to. But what I'm getting at is we had this, things looked like it was over, right? Like she was non-responsive. It was all very somber, right?
Yeah.
And then they were waiting for a particular brother to come back, or son rather, and the son came in, and all of a sudden, boom, she is up. She is full of life. She's got lots to say. Boom, 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 boom. Had that sort of step back, I would say, just sort of in reaction-wise about the way that other people explained it to me. She was acting like she did a year before, right? She had that kind of energy.
Yep.
And then they had these conversations. Everything seemed to be resolved. And then she disappeared into the night.
Yep. Yeah,
so,
and it happens so often. You hear about it all the time, and it's that opportunity for the soul to come fully back in so they can complete whatever they need.
Yep, get the job done.
Yeah,
okay.
And then it's like, okay, now I can leave, and so then they exit.
Right. Hey, something you said before. So I'm just going to pick your brains on this one, right? When I was growing up, when everyone dreams, okay. So when I was dreaming, I mean the type when you're asleep, not the other ones. But when I was dreaming, okay, sometimes I'd be going in the middle of the dream and I'd go, whoop, 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 stop, right? And then I'd literally stop the movie, okay, while I was in there, right? And I would step out and I go, no, this bit's wrong. This doesn't make any sense. This needs to be moved to this day. And I would direct the film, if you like, right?
There you go.
Yeah, and then I would step.
Forte should have been a film director.
Maybe. And then I stepped out and then we hit the play button again and off it went. Yeah. And then sometimes in my dream, my movie that I'm watching, it would do that on many, many, many occasions.
Great.
I wonder if that's me kind of stepping out of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we get the opportunity to do that. Not many people know they can do that or can do that. So bravo to you, because it's actually a skill.
Is it?
That you can do that. Yeah.
It was a childhood thing. I haven't been able to do it. Well, haven't.
Tried to do it.
Yeah, it just hasn't come my way for a long time.
Because that happened to me when I was a kid too. Because I used to have these repetitive dreams of being chased by somebody, and I was like exhausted, and I was like terrified of being chased. And then one night, for some reason, I learnt that I could actually stop in my dream, and I turned around and I confronted the monster or whatever it was chasing me. Yep. And I actually, I don't know, turned around and scared the monster off, whatever it was. I rewrote the script. Yep. Yeah, and then after that, I never had that dream again.
Isn't that interesting?
And then I learned from that I can actually intercept my dreams and actually change them. So, I've done that a lot of times. And,
there you go.
And anybody can do that, actually.
And how does that sort of spin into your everyday life?
Well, it just shows to me, again, that our soul is doing its work when we're sleeping. You know, our soul is eternal, and we are not just our body. You know, there's a lot more to us than just our body.
I think you nailed that. I think that's exactly that. We get so kind of, I don't know, fixated on this vessel that we're sitting on and in when this is the whole soul journey, right? This is why we're talking about death here. We're talking about the fact of going to the next stage of life, if you like. Okay.
But this is the thing, because the soul is coming in and out of the body all the time. So even when we're pregnant, like our baby that's growing in our womb, the soul is not there, I believe, from what I've seen once again, is that the soul is always coming in and checking to what's going on. Because, like, remember I spoke about, being like an owner-builder, like they're building their little house that they're going to live in.
Yes.
And so they're coming in and checking on the progress. And if it's not progressing the way they want to, then, they say, right, knock it down, start again. So it's like that's when we have a miscarriage. They release the body because it's not the vehicle that they need in order to get around in this lifetime, because they've got a set of criteria that they need to meet. So if it's not working out right, they, knock it down and start again. So
the same soul can come back into another body?
Yeah, definitely. And it can try multiple times if the body's not working out, or if the situation's not correct. So this helped me to overcome all my stigma around miscarriage as well.
Right.
I had that happen.
Sure.
I think I've shared that already when I was 16 weeks pregnant with one of my children. And then, he said he would be coming back in pretty quick. And a month later, I was pregnant again. And, yes, he came in. So I was able to actually let go of any fear around, what the birth is going to be like, what the body's going to be like, because I knew that he chose that.
Yeah.
So it's the same at death. When we're leaving out the other end, our soul decides when it's time to go. And it's not going to go until its time is up,
What about the control factor here? What about the fact that a lot of people they want to control their pregnancy so accurately?
Exactly, that's a human trait. It's not a soul trait.
when ultimately, if I'm reading you correctly, you're pretty well saying, obviously, you make the nice environment, take the right things, eat the right things, all of that. Yeah. But ultimately, it's not up to you.
No, that's right. The baby has, it's twofold, but the baby actually has the final say.
Sure.
So you decide what time they're coming in, what date they're going to be born, all that stuff. Because, there's a lot of things like astrological influences and numerological and physical. There's a lot goes into the timing of the birth as well as the timing of death. So that's outside of our physical control. That's all to do with spirit.
Okay.
And, have you, you've probably had the experiences as you're driving, your racing car driving. I have to bring
you
in.
brought it, not me.
I'm getting in. I'm preempting you.
Nice. Love your work.
I'll bet you do. But, when you're really having a hairy race,
hairy race. I love your terminology.
Don't know how to.
Yeah, you go on.
But when you're sitting on the edge of your seat, literally, because you're not sure if you're going to make it out of a corner or something, or you flip the car and you're not sure if you're going to still be here at the end.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of that's covered up with a lot of adrenaline. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But at any time, that could be your last hurrah.
It could be, but that's kind of the excitement of it.
Yeah, exactly. You're living on the edge.
Yeah, boom, boom. Well, like a lot of us would consider that. We call it the pucker factor. The pucker factor,
right,
because your body's going pop, 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 you're puckering because you follow where I'm going on this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, that's literally, you do feel it in your body when you're very, 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 very close to the edge. You made a mistake or something like that, and you're going, but that's it.
But it is, and so that's why a lot of people love adrenaline sports, and I was one of them as well. Well, I still am a bit, but kind of. Well, I still do.
You still do?
I haven't had the opportunity, but I do love adrenaline sports because, to me, I want to really fully live.
Yeah.
And this is part of, accepting death is, and we've said this before, once you can accept death and you know that, we're not going to go before our time is up because it's a soul contract kind of thing, then you don't have to dice with death and do stupid things, but, you can still live life to the fullest and have all these amazing experiences,
So true. I mean, it's just... It's kind of like life's a bit of a graph, if you like, and you could sit at the bottom if you like, just floating around, or you can experience those highs, right? I mean, the spectrum's there. Be part of it, enjoy it.
Have a great time.
We get one crack at it that we know of, right? So
this time round,
yeah, exactly. But we may as well live it to the full.
Exactly. So if your number's up, then you might die doing that very thing that you're doing that you love. But what a way to go!
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. If you flipped your car and died doing the very thing, then at least you lived life to the fullest.
That's right.
Or if you're skydiving and your chute doesn't open and you end up, then at least you died while doing what you're doing. Love doing. But,
you enjoyed most of the fall, but
but you know where I'm coming from.
I do.
Even
totally
though
agree.
I'm not, try not to make too much light of it, but it's to not make it such a heavy topic.
Well, okay, as I say, in life, I'm very much a fan of making light of things because I think that, if you make light of things, you'll have the conversation.
Yeah.
When you make things doom and gloom all the time, you don't have the conversation.
Exactly.
So by putting a bit of a giggle to it, we're talking about the things that people avoid, okay, let's talk about death. Let's talk about religion. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about sex, right? No, let's talk about these things, right? While I sing into the song. Why? Because, that is actually truly living.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
And if we throw a little bit of humor in with it, we kind of give people and ourselves permission to talk about what can be a difficult subject. So if we're talking about death, if you're just being, negative Nancy all the time, you're not going to talk about it, are you?
No,
you're
that's
going
right.
to push
That's
it away.
right.
So a little bit of a giggle, I think it's a good gateway drug.
And the other thing too that's that is helpful too about knowing about this, what happens at soul level, is that you stop judging other people too for their journey that they take, because we're all on an individual journey.
So true.
And what's right, wrong, or otherwise is neither here nor there, because it's not about you, what somebody else is doing. So when we have somebody who's living a life that's completely different to how you live it, have different beliefs, different, philosophy, all of that, well, it's like, well, that's fine. They can do that because that's their life journey, and it's not you're not supposed to be doing the same as you, because we're all different. And so somebody might choose to have a life where they've, been down and out and had the heaviest challenges and been addicted to, lots of things.
There's all sorts of things there.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, if we're all the same, how boring would life be?
Oh, totally.
We need to be different, okay?
We do.
So, like having different opinions, having have a little conflicts are not a bad thing, right? Okay, when
it helps you to grow.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
Because if somebody's triggering you and you're having a reaction, it's because that's something that you need to either heal or move through or look at least.
You're digging in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we run away from those, it's just going to keep coming up for us in other different forms. So you may as well just meet it head on. Have those, conversations or confrontations.
Well, yeah. Well, it just opens your mind.
Exactly.
It keeps you out of the fishbowl, right? Keeps you out of just like this. It's like, okay, when you're in life on YouTube, okay, and the algorithm keeps giving you the same stuff, that you won't grow as a person, right? Again, step out of your comfort zone. Look at the things that aren't out there. I mean, the things that challenge you a bit, whether they be birth or whether they be death or religion or any spirituality. These are the things that are going to open your mind. These things are going to take you to another level.
Exactly. So this very conversation might challenge a lot of viewers because they don't believe in reincarnation or anything that happens on a soul level, because it's completely different to what they've been accustomed to. But just for a moment, just allow your mind to open and to think about, what does actually happen, when we cross over at the end of death,
So is this part of the finality sort of myth, if you like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, because a lot of people do think that this is it. We're born, we live, we die, that's it, end of story. How sad would that be?
Bit dull.
I'd be really annoyed if that was the case, because it's like, well, hang on a minute. Yeah. And it's like you're hoping that, well, I do, each lifetime you're hoping you're making some progress and you're evolving a little bit, because you learn from your mistakes. So,
and if you're not learning from your mistakes, what are you doing?
Exactly. And I know I've been shown many of my past lives, so I know what's happened, and, they've come up for me to review and to heal, and I know why I'm in this lifetime with certain people because of interactions that need to be played out, so I can heal past traumas or whatever.
Okay. So, what a segue without being a segue. Okay. I'm going to go to something personal here. Past lives, right? Okay. Now, I've never had any thoughts of past lives or kind of carry on, maybe in dream sequences in my life, but not consciously, I'd say, right? But anyway, a couple of really horrible things happened in my life, obviously, and like we all have. My ex-wife actually said to me while we were married, right? So she was still the wife at the time. She goes, "You were clearly Hitler in a past life, right?" She used to say that. She goes, "And you're paying the price now for your sins, right?" Well, sins is not the word she used, right? And I said, "How in the world do you rationalize that?" And anyway, she brought up these ridiculous things. She said about the fact that I like German stuff. Well, I do like German stuff, okay? Porsches. Have you seen the sign behind me? Okay. I love my German cars, right? But where am I kind of going on this? Just the fact that I had somebody in my life who was actually turning past lives into such a way to tear me down, right? Like, associating me with, quite frankly, the most hated person in history.
Yeah, right. So now that's you've probably now got triggered around that.
It screws with your psyche, and you kind of think,
so you don't want anything to do with past lives, probably because of that.
I wonder. I mean, so in the conscious life, in the current life that you're living, people can do damage to you, right?
Absolutely. It happens all the time. But that's another choice as to whether we take that on board or not.
That's right.
Personally,
But, that's yes, no. I think in a subconscious level, you still do to it.
You do. But then that's, gets planted down there somewhere, and then it's to help, it'll come up sometime in your life to trigger you, and then you'll go, oh, where'd that come from? And then you'll remember. It's like, that's right. And so then you can do some work to reframe it. NLP is great for reframing your subconscious and to clear those kind of episodes out of you.
Sure. I'm not, by the way, I want to make that clear. I'm not living by that. I mean, I didn't, for a time, that was just a very hurtful thing to say. The fact that she said it repeatedly, like not once or twice, she rammed home.
Yeah.
Because somebody had done something really, really bad to me and stolen a lot of money from me and all of that, right? And she said, well, effectively you brought it on yourself with your past life, right?
Gosh.
And you think, I'll tell you what, I could pick them. I'll tell you, right, I'm great with picking women. But, now, at the time I found that very, negative, obviously, and hurtful. But ultimately, yes, I reframed it and just thought, like that's ridiculous. What a ridiculous thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
But on the past life thing and future life, do you people often say, oh, I was a famous person, I was Julius Caesar, I was this person, whatever, right? Perhaps we were just, out there working on a farm, right? Like maybe,
absolutely.
Maybe we were just regular people, right?
And sometimes people identify with the, with that facade or not facade, that identity, from the past in the history, because I really identify with Joan of Arc, but I'm sure I wasn't her, but I love everything she stood for, and maybe I was around in that era and
you identified with,
been a follower or something. I don't know,
sense.
but I really love her,
that
what she stands for. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and different countries, you might go to a particular country or just have a real affinity like you do with Germany. So you might have had past lives in Germany or whatever, but you won't know unless you do some diving into it.
Yeah.
With
I just like the engineering stuff. Just like the engineering.
Yeah. There you go. But everybody has had multiple lifetimes, multiple as in like hundreds, thousands, whatever, how long since humanity began.
Yeah, we're just being recycled, right?
Exactly. And, Earth's not the only place in the universe either. So
oh, wow, what a can of worms you just opened up. Jeez.
Could be another whole show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, we're not just this physical body having this one physical lifetime. I mean, how can you even comprehend that could be the case? Like, to me, that sounds less real than the idea of an eternal soul that just comes in and has different experiences. And it comes back to, was it last week we were talking about how you're likening this soul journey to like planning a trip.
Yes.
If you're going on a holiday.
Yep.
And you plan your itinerary. So this lifetime is just one holiday that you're going on, but whether it's a good holiday or not, whether it's one to be remembered in a good way or a bad way, depends on the itinerary you chose.
So true.
We choose the itinerary. We like, where do we want to go? What experiences do we want to have this time, and what have you?
And that's part of the soul contract, right?
Exactly. And who's going to be our tour guide? Who are the people that are joining us on our holiday or our journey?
Tour guides.
All those things. They're all actually, when you look at it from that, like a metaphor for going on a holiday, then everything just fits into place quite well. And then, then we can go on multiple holidays. So we just choose a different holiday next time. And
all right. Okay. So I'm currently planning my next holiday, right?
Yep.
The next stage of life beyond this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next life.
Yeah. So for the next life, okay. Apart from learning the lessons I need to learn, what else can I do? What else can I do to actually improve that next journey?
Well, it's up to your soul. Like when you cross over,
but can't I talk to my soul? Can't we get some sort of dialogue going?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. You can tap into your higher self and have conversations with your higher self and your spirit guides and all that, and actually say, what can I have next time? Because I don't really want to come back in this dimensional frequency. Like I want to. I'm hoping that I've evolved enough that I can go to a fifth dimensional realm and have a better experience. Like not that this has been bad. Like I've loved my life. Like so.
But you want change.
I do. I want to change. I'm hoping that I'm evolving all the time. And so like I make a conscious effort to keep learning and growing and evolving because of what I know and believe. I'm always trying to be a better version of myself, because I can only, hopefully get better because I think everything revolves around vibrational frequency because we're all energetic beings. Everything is energy. And so if we raise our vibrational frequency, then you're going to keep evolving.
To the next level.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like I've said to you before many times, like I for most of my life didn't believe the whole we are energy thing, That's woohoo rubbish, yada, yada, yada. We're here, we live our life, you die, they dig a hole, they throw you in, what's your uncle, right? Now you worm food. That's honestly how I thought of life. But then so many experiences of life told me that I was wrong. You know what I mean? I was wrong. And I've evolved.
You weren't necessarily wrong. It was just a different belief that you had at the time, and it was perfect at the time.
Yeah.
Because we're evolved. Is it evolution? So
evolution, yeah, got you, yeah. And you've got to, like, I think a big part of, the meaning of life is to keep improving yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And keep learning stuff. So, I mean, we've touched on this very much, but, is this a conversation that I'm having with my soul? Right? Am I discussing where we could move forward, what the next step is?
Yeah. We can be, for sure. Okay. That's why I'm always a big advocate of meditation, because you actually cut out all the external noise and focus on your higher self or your inner self, wherever, and have a conversation about, who you are, what's your essence, and what do you want to experience? Because you can experience it now in this lifetime. You don't have to wait till next lifetime.
Oh, I'm impatient. I want it
exactly.
now. I want it yesterday.
Now.
Exactly.
But that's the thing too, in this lifetime, because of all the energetic shifts that are happening on the planet at the moment.
Just a couple.
We're all actually, believe it or not, we're having multiple lifetimes within this one. We're not having to go through the death process and be reborn to start again. We're having multiple lifetimes stacked on one another. So if you've noticed in your life, you've had a definite shift into like a completely new way of being, or a new, you're suddenly doing a whole new thing in life, and taking on a new belief system or something. Chances are that's probably where you would have, in the past, cut off, your life would have ended, and you would have come back again and started a whole new chapter. But now we can kind of have the chapters in the same book rather than having
multiple books.
Okay.
Life doesn't have to be a mini-series.
Exactly.
We can knock it off in one. Yeah, okay.
So we can choose, we can make a choice as to, what we want to experience in this lifetime. And ultimately, again, it's our higher self as to, whether that was meant for you this lifetime. But
okay, now you've mentioned, with meditation.
Yeah.
And you and I have had conversations about meditation, my inability to do traditional
and it doesn't
meditation.
matter because it comes in many forms, as we've talked about as well.
Which I didn't get. You brought that into my life. I didn't actually, I hadn't accepted that before. I just accepted before I'm a guy who can't meditate, right? And you changed that.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Turns out you've been doing it all along in different forms.
In different forms, absolutely, yeah. You can do it in a very ADHD kind of way, right?
Exactly.
It can
We're all different.
we are. Like, I mean, while we're having this conversation, I thought to myself, like, okay, I won't be racing again. That's not, unfortunately, that's not part of my future. And so, I was thinking to myself, where can I take myself to a place which isn't racing? So I'm not driving, walk factor 9 through the bush, but somewhere where I still feel elevated and I could actually put myself in this position. Guess what I came up with?
What did you come up with?
Parasailing.
Oh,
right?
There you go.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, they're very, 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 very different. But when I went, the whole idea of me going parasailing for so many years was, this is going to be so exciting. You're flying through the air, and I'm scared of heights. So, that makes no sense, but we go there. But I thought it was going to be this exciting experience, right?
Right.
And it wasn't.
No, it's actually quite calm, isn't it?
It's incredibly calm.
Yeah, no.
So,
I thought hot air ballooning, it's the same thing.
I haven't done that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Don't know if I'm keen, but there you go. Well, I don't like the lack of control about that. I don't like the fact that I can float off just about anywhere. That kind of concerns me.
No, they still control it. There's a driver.
Yeah. You're not getting it up in Botswana. It's okay.
No.
But with parasailing, you are up there and it's got that level of excitement, but it's in this ridiculously sort of quiet, calm place. And you are able to drop into a zone in there, right? Yeah. So, I'm just looking for alternative places I can go. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So, look around.
There might not be the most obvious place is what I'm basically saying.
Yeah, exactly. But you can find that, whatever that feeling was, and which brings me to the thing that you're always talking about. If you want to change something or you want to attract something into your life, what is the feeling state around it? We talk about that in NLP a lot too. It's like, what is the feeling state? Because it's not the thing that you're after; it's the feeling state that comes with it. How does it make you feel?
How does it make me feel?
Yeah, and then go for what is it that brings that feeling into your life? Because then you'll satisfy that need.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking. And it's going to be different for everyone. Let's face it.
Yeah. But it's the same with money because, we're, humans are wired just because of preconditioning. You know, that money makes the world go round. We need money, money, money. But it's not money itself. It's actually what money can buy you or what experiences money allows you to have. So we don't focus on the money if you want to manifest money.
Yep.
You manifest on what it is that you're wanting the money to get for you or to bring into your life.
It's a great point. Like some people can be quite critical of those who chase money or see money, and if you see money as the ultimate goal, then perhaps that's not the best goal, but it's your goal. So if it makes you happy, knock yourself out. But to me, like, money actually means something very different, only because I've experienced having money and having no money and everywhere in between. And for me, money actually represents freedom.
Yes.
Right. So when you've got money, it's amazing what you can do, what opportunities you have. How you can help people, you can help yourself, you can help your situation, you can help other people when they're in need. I've said this before, many, many, many years ago. I had somebody I loved very much who was on the East Coast and was in trouble and needed big time moral support. Right now, back in those days, I had the money. I jumped on a plane, flew straight over there, was there to be with them. Right. Okay. Now I've also been in that not exact, but very, very similar situation where I was poor as dirt. Okay. And I literally am going, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to hitchhike across the eastern states. What am I going to do? So, sometimes, for me, money doesn't represent freedom. It does.
Because it's the exchange that, exchange the money for the thing.
Yeah.
So, it is the freedom.
Yeah, totally.
But, so we can actually create whatever we want in life by getting into the feeling state.
The feelings.
The feelings.
The feels.
It is. So if you want to have an adrenaline kind of experience, then find something that gets that adrenaline feeling. And if you want to have the opposite and be nice and calm, then what is it that actually brings on those feelings?
Yeah.
Yep. And so at both birth and death, the idea is to be in a relaxed state, when you've got all the love hormones flowing, because then you have a far better birth when you've got the love hormones flowing, because it's what got the baby in is going to get the baby out.
Yep.
It's all the love hormones that open everything up and allow the birth to flow. And it's the same at the other end of life. So at death, if we can create a beautiful, calm environment so that the soul can leave the body in peace, be in a peaceful state, it's far better than, having a traumatic ending, which, sometimes we can't control either.
Sometimes you can't.
You might have an awful, very traumatic death.
Yeah.
And sometimes when that happens, if it's a very sudden death, the soul can sometimes get a bit disorientated and not move on straight away. So they become earthbound and stay here, which is can be another whole show on its own.
It really
talking
is.
about ghosts and earthbound entities, which I've
Not
done a lot of clearing.
Keep away from the light. Keep away from the light.
No, but they can get a bit stuck here. So it's a bit like, have you watched the movie Ghost?
Yes.
Yes, I love that with Patrick Swayze, but one of my favourite movies. But what happens there, when he...
Why do women love that bloody movie?
Because Patrick Swayze, of course. And Whoopi Goldberg, she makes it as well. But, what happens there, like, to me, is a really good representation of what happens, because, the soul gets out of the body and it's like, what's going on here? He thought he was still alive and took a while to realise that he's actually died, and he's trying to get the message through.
Yep.
Yeah, so that I love it because it's kind of so similar to, what
far more positive than The Sixth Sense, right?
Yes. They always like to do horror movies around death, which is why I used to be scared of it when I was young and I was seeing ghosts all the time. I used to be terrified because what you see on TV is horror movies
coming to get you, right?
Yeah. And I didn't make it easy for myself, because when I was a teenager, I used to watch what was it, Night Stalker and all those horrible movies, and so I was terrified. So the first time I confronted with an actual person who passed away, my patient, I was so scared that she was going to wake up and grab me, because that's what happens in the movies, but it's actually not like that at all.
So don't watch any of the Scream movies before you become a nurse, right?
Exactly. So,
dear.
Because I used to do work night duty all the time, and I used to see ghosts all the time in the wards and stuff.
I was going to laugh at you a little bit there, and I've got no right to, because I have seen ghosts, right? I've had ghosts in my life. I have, absolutely. So I'm on board, as I say, very much a cynic about all of this sort of thing. When you've seen them and you've experienced them, real life.
And this is the thing, if you've never seen one, it's hard to believe that they actually exist, and you think other people are bananas if they talk about it.
That's exactly what I thought.
So I'm so glad you've seen them too. You know what it's like. So when you see them, it's like, well, I've seen them with my own eyes multiple times, all the time.
I mean, invert these commas, being lucky enough, and some of it is lucky, I've experienced ghosts who I could identify, a poltergeist as well, right? So moving things around and all that sort of carry on. But what my whinge about all of this is one person I wanted to haunt me never haunted me. Like, come on. Get your act together. Jeez,
Who did you want to haunt you?
I wanted my mum to haunt me.
Oh, did she? So you could isn't it great? Because if she was haunting you, that means she's earthbound, which means she's stuck here on the earth plane.
Damn you finding the positives here. I don't know. I mean, I just,
she's crossed over.
I know, but that's kind of sucks.
Doesn't mean you can't talk to her.
But I don't get, there's one way of communication. It's no good for me. Well,
no, you can learn to
but you've got gifts.
I
don't have those gifts.
Maybe not at the moment, but you can learn them.
You can.
This is it. You can learn to communicate with them, the loved ones on the other side.
I don't know if this is true or not, but there was a study many, many years ago about different cultures and who is most spiritual and who can actually speak, or who has more experiences with the other side, right? Mm-hmm. Guess which nationality is the most in touch with the other side?
Oh, curious. Who?
Indians.
Right, that doesn't surprise me, actually, because they're very spiritual. Like, I love the Indian culture, and they are deeply spiritual.
There you go.
So
per capita, Indians apparently have far more experiences with the other side than any other nationality. Which, there you go. So be useless information.
Probably why all the meditation trips and journeys and yoga journeys are all to India. Out of India. Hey, these people, spiritual country.
They were behind the Kama Sutra, so enough said. Right?
Oh gosh!
And on that bombshell, no, I want to actually finish the show on. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Oh no!
About a positive. Let's look at it in the way that we need to look at it. Yeah. Let's look at life and look at death and look at the the crossing over. Let's look at the positive here. What would be your message about your not your personally, but for everyone, they're stepping towards the light. What's your thoughts there?
Oh, well, just to know that death is not final. It might be the end of this little journey, but you have other journeys to take, and that, don't be afraid of finishing one journey. It's just like, it is like finishing a holiday, It's like you always think, oh, it's the end of the holiday, you got regrets because you don't want to end it, but then you kind of want to be home as well in your own bed.
Yep.
So it's like that. We're going home. We are walking home.
You just nailed that. It's the end of a holiday. That's beautiful. Yeah, and it's accurate. I miss my own bed. I really do, but at the same time, I'm going to miss the people. Yeah, I get that. That's really cool. Yeah. All right. With that bombshell, as Jeremy Clarkson would have put it, thank you for being part of Soulbirth here on Edge Radio Australia. Absolute pleasure. And of course, if you have missed this, well, guess what? You can watch it anytime you like on YouTube. Go to edgeradioaustralia.com. Do the liking. Do the sharing. Share some love, okay? We're talking about love here. We're talking about, helping other people. Help us with making Edge Radio Australia and Soulbirth even bigger. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. Again, as far as replays go, if you just like the audio version, you just want to cruise along and listen, you can go to edgeradioaustralia.com. We will be replaying on Sunday at what time, Faye?
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Hope I got that right.
You certainly did. Hey, thanks for being part of Soulbirth here on Edge
everyone.
Radio Australia.
Bye.